And just like that, we are live on the internet. Greatest song ever written, ever produced.
Did you see me rocking out to it?
Performed, yeah, man.
I totally was.
Jamming away.
But again, I think it's just that Pavlovian response of, I'm just excited. So
excited to be here. Another Thursday morning. Back to the old time slot.
Yes.
Respect.
Yeah. That's right.
I respect this time.
Thank you.
You're wearing the most popular hoodie.
Yes, which I know I need to make more of, and we're on it. So I wore it out just today. I went to 7-Eleven and some dude stopped me. So
where do I buy that?
Yeah, he's like, where do I get it? And I'm like, respectlife.com, but we don't actually offer it. So I basically sent him to go do nothing, which is really terrible when you think about it. So
you should have a QR code on the sleeve that says, right on the inside, on like the under the wrist. So if somebody says, where do I get that? The people just hold up their arm.
Or I'll get a tattoo.
That's an idea.
That what though? What would be better than a business card? Have a tattoo of your business, like the QR code for your business.
Yeah.
Scan me.
I do that. Under my wrist, mark of the beast.
There you go. Yeah. See that? Look at that. We're brainstorming.
That'd be a really crazy use of technology.
It would be.
You know what else is technological?
What?
Google. Google's really cool, and iPhones are great.
I don't disagree. I remember when the Google search engine came out. And I'm talking about someone who was really dependent upon Ask Jeeves.
So I was an Alta Vista guy.
I loved Ask Jeeves.
Ask Jeeves. Okay.
But Alta Vista I used as well. But Google changed everything, right? I mean, when Google came out.
You were a Metacrawler?
I remember Metacrawler, yeah.
That was the one that searched them all at the same time. Saved you time.
Yes.
You don't have to go back and forth. You didn't have to go from Lycos to Yahoo to AOL to Ask Jeeves to Alta Vista. These are names you forgot existed, didn't you? Lycos, right? You like that poll? Lycos? Yeah.
I didn't forget they existed, but they have not been part of my lexicon for so long that I just dismissed them. Like I just don't think about it.
Lycos. That's right.
Lycos. That's a deep cut.
Yeah.
That is a deep cut.
MSN had their own ones,
Yeah, MSN did have. What were some others?
Overture.
I never used that one.
That was so.
Dogpile.
Dogpile. Go.com.
I don't think I ever used that one.
That was the ABC one. That was the Disney one. So yeah, Overture was the first pay-per-click one, where the results where people could advertise pay-per-click. And then Overture, it was originally called GoTo.com.
Okay.
And they syndicated it. So they sold their ad platform to Yahoo and AOL and Lycos and Alta Vista. So you would, sign up with GoTo.com that became Overture. And then you would have your paid ads on all the other search engines, except Google. Google didn't participate. And then Google came out with their own, the Google AdWords. And then, so then there were competitions. There was Overture, who was all the other search engines. And there was Google AdWords, who just had Google. And if you ran paid ads, you do both. You do both. Then eventually, obviously, like Google won, and now Overture doesn't exist anymore. And
well, Google won for a good reason though, because
it's better.
It was infinitely better than any other search engine.
Yeah.
And this is a pertinent story to what we'll be talking about today. One of my first experiences with Google as a teacher was my first year teaching, and Joe Benson, I'm calling you out. Yeah, was one of my students my first year. Loved this kid. I have endearing memories of Joe and his mother because of the interaction we had as a result of this situation. But Joe, being a pioneer, truly a pioneer, he was literally 20 years ahead of his time, 23 years ahead of his time. I had them write a paper. It's just a short little 1-page or 1.5-page paper on a new scientific discovery that might change the world. And so I collect all the papers. He was in my first period class of my first year teaching. So he hands me in his paper, and I'm reading it. And as I'm like, there is no way this kid wrote this paper.
Yeah.
This was like, I was like, this is not an 8th grader. This was a scientific paper. I'm like, no way. So I go to Google and I type in the first paragraph of the paper into Google. And sure enough, I get the whole paper back. Word for word. So he didn't even bother to change a damn word, right? So this is such a great story. So I print it out. And when I hand the papers back, Joe doesn't have a grade on his paper. It says, just please see me. So he comes up to me and he goes.
So he knows he's hosed.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
So he comes up to me. He's like, Mr. Specht, I didn't get a grade. And I'm like, well, there's a problem with that because, Joe, I don't know who to give the grade to. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, well, I ran into this really crazy thing. I put the first paragraph of your paper into Google, and it came back as an article written by Dr. Abraham Samuel. And
by the way, if you got that name right just now, I swear to God.
What was that?
If that's really his name, I swear to God, I'll lose my fucking mind.
I forget the name of the doctor.
Yeah, but what if it was? What if you just remembered the name, you sick person?
It may very well be because I don't know why I know things that I know.
So, yeah, I know.
So, yeah, my brain is so. We were watching a movie the other day, and Sam's like, "Who's that actor?" And I just like pulled it right out, and she's like, "How the hell do you know that?" And I'm like, "I don't know." I was like, "I seriously don't know why I know like this guy's name, and I've never really seen him before, other than this one movie."
Speaking of which, you said that you were going to help us on our road to glory. You were like every day but Tuesday. I got you. I'll be there. At least a couple of them. Not a single one.
Did you guys make it?
Oh yeah, we made it.
Is the streak still going?
Yeah, still going.
All right. Well, then I'll come today.
All right.
I feel guilty, but honestly, you know what? I wanted you guys to grow on your own.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And I mean, you don't need my help. You don't need.
We 2 days in a row we won by $1.
Ooh. Yeah. What I should do is get an Alexa myself, and then instead of playing with you guys,
try and compete against us
and become the champion.
Right? Yeah.
And then you guys would be like, "What the hell? How can we?" And you'd be like, "You're up against Rich." Oh no.
Not again. I knew it.
So anyhow, going back to my story. So I pull it up on Google, and I was like, Joe, can you do me a favor and read this? And I was like, I would like you to hold your paper at the same time he's reading it. And then the kid turns to me, and this is no joke, looks at me, and he goes, I can't believe this guy stole what I wrote. And I'm like, are you seriously going to stand there telling me that
Dr. Abraham?
Right, that Dr. Abraham stole what you wrote as an 8th grader and published it online in the Journal of Science. You're going to go that far? He's like, Mr. Specht, this guy ripped me off. And I'm like, Joe, I'm sorry. I just can't. I can't. So I called his mom. And I'm like, I just need to share this with you. And this is so typical of how parents are now.
Oh no.
That her first instinct was to be like, no, this guy must have stolen it from my son. And I started reading it, and she's like, oh no, he didn't. So she did come around, and we had a great laugh after that. But her first instinct was to defend him. And I will say this, that was 23 years ago. If it were today, I'm going to tell you that most of the parents wouldn't back off. It was my fault that I did this. So, and this kid wrote this, and he's a prodigy, and he was ripped off. So now the reason I say he's 23 years ahead of his time is because, well, that kid found something, and he looked on Google, and he looked at under the topics and was able to find something that was pre-written. But oh no, Now today, you want to write something. What can we do? We can go to Chat GPT.
GPT-4.
And we can get things done for us in our own voice that is almost indistinguishable from what we would have written and come from an area of expertise that, frankly, I don't think any of us could possibly match. And it's both amazing and frightening at the same time.
It's really terrifying.
And I have to say, I told my wife this. I said, your kids now, she always had a problem with Google Translate, with the kids using Google Translate. Like they'd write something in English and then hit Google Translate, but it wasn't that good.
Right.
But I know Bard for Google is really good at translating the languages. And it's legit. It's like legit. It uses, colloquial terms well in the other languages. There's a difference between Bard, which I just got accepted into, so I was excited to be part of that little beta. And I immediately had to compare Bard to Chat GPT. But as a resource for kids, I think with all things, it could be amazing. But wow, I'm almost glad I'm not teaching right now, asking kids to write things, because how the hell am I going to know the difference? So it's creepy, and what it can put out is impressive. And I know you and I hadn't discussed what we were going to talk about in this podcast before we started today, and I found it odd that when we first were pre-meeting, you shared with me something that was exactly what I wanted to talk about today. And so I don't know if you want to share that now.
Yeah, we can do that. So all right, so here's the deal. If you're one of the 4 people that watch this.
Oh, no, we doubled our viewership.
Yeah. If you're one of the 4 that watch this, don't tell. I'm going to post this as my blog, and you can't spoil a secret. All right. So I need you to, because we're going to do an experiment to see if anybody can tell there's something fishy going on. But yeah, should I share? I'll share the actual Chat GPT screen so we can see what I actually did. So let me. So I started with. I was feeling morose, and I was betrayed, and so I asked Chat GPT, why don't people keep their promises? And it told me, there could be many reasons why people don't keep their promises. Some people make promises without fully understanding the commitment they're making, or without considering the impact it may have on their lives. Sometimes people make promises with the intention of keeping them, but circumstances beyond their control for them from doing so. In some cases, people might simply forget about the promises or prioritize them among the responsibilities and obligations. They may be afraid to disappoint or positive with other situations, which can lead to a pretty good. So he goes on, right? And then I asked, do you know about the Crippled CEO blog written by Eric Lupton? That's me. And she writes, it's an AI language model. I am aware of the existence of the Crippled CEO blog written by Eric Lupton. The blog is about Eric's personal experiences as a CEO and entrepreneur with a physical disability. In his blog, he shares his insights and lessons learned, as well as his struggles and successes in navigating the business world with disability. Eric's goal is to inspire and empower other people with disabilities to pursue their entrepreneurial dreams and to promote disability awareness and inclusion in the workplace, which is pretty good. It's not bad. And then I said, pretend to be Eric Lupton, writer of the Crippled CEO blog. Write a new blog post on a topic Eric would write about. Now, keep in mind, the Chat GPT's cutoff is September 2021. So September 2021, I'd only written 102 blogs. So it's missing the last 80 whatever of them.
Yeah.
It's missing a whole bunch, right? Oh yeah. So sure, I can generate a sample blog post that's topic up in a topic I can write about. And then it goes on. How I overcame self-doubt and possibly to become a disabled CEO. And it wrote this initial one, and it was very good. And it kind of did its thing, but then I told it to make it more humorous in the style of Eric Lupton. And that's when it became magical. Because not only did it make more jokes, it made handicap jokes that I might make. So it wrote, as a self-proclaimed crippled CEO, I faced my fair share of obstacles in the business world, but the biggest challenge I've faced is convincing myself that I'm actually qualified to be a CEO despite my physical limitations. At first, I was plagued by doubts and insecurities. I'd wonder, what if they find out I can't reach the top shelf without a step stool? Or what if my employees realize I can't walk and chew gum at the same time? Which is actually, it's really good. But then I realized that my disability actually gave me an advantage in certain situations. For example, I can park in a handicap spot right next to the entrance while my able-bodied colleagues have to trek across the parking lot. And if anyone tries to argue with me, I just say, sorry, I didn't catch that. Can you speak up a bit? Note, I don't actually do this. Please don't be that person. This parenthetical is something I would write, and it's well done. I don't get the joke, by the way. Is it maybe because it thinks I'm also hearing impaired?
I think it's just taking the fact that it's just looking at disability in general.
Right.
And it's not parsing any difference between what your specific disability, which I don't know if it actually knows what your specific disability is.
It doesn't. Right. Yeah. With my newfound confidence, I started to embrace my role as a crippled CEO. I even started wearing a cape to work, which I think really drives home the message. So if you're struggling with imposter syndrome or self-doubt, remember that your limitations can actually be a strength. And if all else fails, just wear a cape to work. Trust me, it works wonders for your confidence. Stay crippled, my friends. Eric Lupton, the crippled CEO. Now, the fact that it came up with a tagline that I should have been using the whole time is remarkable. So
I'm just thinking as a teacher, we have to. I tell my students that if you are given an idea that's not your own, you can't present it as yours. You need to cite it. Do you now need to cite Chat GPT for your tagline?
I mean, but it did it as me.
But it was me. It was virtual Eric Lupton.
Yeah.
It was an AI approximation of Eric Lupton.
So is the work generated through Chat GPT yours?
But you, dude, we're now heading out into like philosophical realms that I just don't even want to enter.
Because, there's a skill in crafting the prompt to get it to, it's like using Photoshop to make a picture, right? Like I'm using, technology to assist me and make this thing. This one just happens to be language.
Hey, is this the nascent version of uploading our consciousness? And let's say you could upload your consciousness, and then you had that simulated consciousness of Eric write something. Well, then you would think it would be similar, if not downright unmistakably you, right?
Right.
That then, well, is that you? I don't know. We are entering into really strange days. So, and I think it's fascinating, but there's clearly work to be done because I had just gotten accepted into the Google Bard beta. So Bard isn't something that you can use yet widespread. So you have to be you have to be invited and then accepted.
By the way, Mike and I were also invited and accepted.
Okay, yeah. So as long as you do the application, I don't know if anyone.
I had to get back. We're on the wait list. I apologize.
Oh, so I was on the wait list, but I got accepted pretty much right away.
Okay.
So
probably because of all your accolades.
It could be. So of course I had experience with Chat GPT and I'd mess around with it, but not a lot. I was interested in it, and I clearly what you did is now piqued my interest even more because I didn't think of expanding upon prompts like that. So
that's where it's at. Is like Well, I another thing I did because I read somewhere this is a good thing to do. I took its whole thing, I gave it back to itself, and I said improve upon this.
Right.
And it made edits and updates. Like I put it in critical mode, And
well, we're gonna do some of this in real time, but what I did, I asked Google Bard to write my biography. Now, I had done this in Chat GPT, but I don't know if I have it saved. I had done this in Chat GPT just for, for basically for kicks and giggles to see what it would pull up on me, or if it had enough on me in general. Because there was a composer, Richard Specht, in Vienna in the 1800s.
Okay.
And usually if you put that in, that's who it recognizes. So, but Chat GPT was able to get me, and it was pretty close, I think, what it got from me. But I asked Bard because I want to see how Bard does. So it wrote my biography, and there's some creepy stuff in it that it knows, and I'm like, I don't ever remember sharing that. But then it's got some other stuff. So I'm not going to share the screen. I'm just going to read it in this case. So this is what Google Bard wrote about me. Rich Specht is a kindness advocate and motivational speaker who co-founded the Respect Life Foundation. He is a former science teacher who was diagnosed with benign idiopathic intracranial hypertension at the age of 13. The condition nearly killed him and robbed him of vision in his right eye. All true.
Where is that published?
I don't know.
Really?
YouTube.
I may have written it in one of my blog posts. I don't recall sharing that.
I mean, yeah, it's on YouTube, but I guess Bard does have access to. Weird.
I guess.
I would imagine it has transcripts of you guys' show.
Because Google would have that, right?
Yeah.
So maybe that's where Google has an advantage.
Yeah. So it then wrote, Specht is an advocate for kindness and believes that it can overcome any obstacle, which right there is not true. I don't believe it can overcome any obstacle.
Well, that's a nuance, but yeah.
He is a regular speaker at schools and businesses, sharing his story and inspiring others to make a difference in the world. So far, so good. Specht is also the co-founder of the Respect Life Foundation. Yep.
And co-founder.
And here's where it goes off the rails. A nonprofit organization that provides resources and support for people with chronic illness. The foundation is named after Specht's daughter, Reese, who was born with a rare genetic disorder. Okay, no. Bless you, Bard, but that's way off. Here are some of his notable achievements, and I love this. He's the co-founder of the Respect Life Foundation, a nonprofit organization that provides resources and support to people with chronic illness. So, well, I did found it, but that's not what we do. He's a regular speaker at schools and businesses, sharing his story and inspiring others to make a difference in the world. Absolutely true. He is a recipient of the American Heart Association's Heart of Gold Award. No, unless there's something I don't know. Maybe Google knows something I don't. He is a recipient of the National Alliance on Mental Health's Advocate of the Year Award. No. He was a CNN hero in 2015. Nope. So, yeah, not accurate. So what I wanted to do is now do the same thing.
So I just had Chat GPT do one for me. Would you like to see it?
Yeah. What does it say?
All right. I'm going to present my screen, which Rich should have done, but he's not as good as me. All right. It's very accurate. Agnew is an American entrepreneur, business executive, best known as the president and co-owner of Legacy Pool Incorporated, a leading pool safety company. He was born on June 5th, 1968 in New York City and grew up in Long Island, New York. Lupton graduated from the University of Michigan with a bachelor's degree in industrial and operations during 1990. He then earned his MBA from the Wharton School of Business at the University of Pennsylvania in 1994. After completing his education, Lupton worked for a number of high-profile companies, including Goldman Sachs and McKinsey & Company. In 1997, he joined his father's company, Legacy Pool Systems, as a partner and vice president of operations. Lupton's experience in finance and consulting proved invaluable to the company, and he quickly rose to the position of president and co-owner. Under Lupton's leadership, Legacy Pool has become a leading provider of pool safety products, including pool fences, pool covers, and pool alarms. The company has received numerous awards for its commitment to safety innovation and has been featured in major media outlets such as Today's Show and the Wall Street Journal. In addition to his work at Lifesaver, Lupton is also active in the community. He is a member of the board of directors for the National Drowning Prevention Alliance and the Water Safety USA Foundation. He is also a supporter of numerous charities and philanthropic organizations, including the Make-A-Wish Foundation and Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. Lupton is married with 2 children and resides in Delray Beach. He's an avid golfer and enjoys spending time with his family and traveling.
That's funny. I'm sorry, that's just funny.
Yeah, but you know actually why I am a good golfer, or why I have a good advantage in golfing.
Why?
Because I have a big handicap.
shouldn't laugh.
Yeah.
I said shouldn't laugh.
Why? It's funny. It's a good joke.
Uh,
That was great. I love how it just wove in this other random stuff and it made it work. Like it said that the reason I was so good at Lifesaver is because of my finance work at Goldman Sachs.
and of course your Wharton School of Business.
Yeah.
That's and how the wife and kids doing, Eric?
They should tell me.
But you know what though? Like well, what did it get right? What did it? Because
What it got right? It got right that I was the president of Lifesaver. It got right that I
Started working here in 1997.
started working here in 1997. It got right that I was the VP and then eventually was the president. It got right that under Luckin's leadership, Lifesaver was to become a leading provider of pool data products, including I don't do covers, but pool fences and alarms. It got right that the company's received numerous awards for its commitment to safety innovation and has been featured in major media outlets such as the Today Show and Wall Street Journal. That's accurate. It's correct that I was. It says I am, but I was on the board of directors of the National Dining Financial Alliance. I got that right, and it got right that I live in Delray Beach. Oh no, I don't live in Delray Beach. What am I saying? I work in Delray Beach. I live in Boynton, but close enough.
well, it got the beach right.
Yeah, and they're the same. So I was this. They're close enough together that I got it wrong just now. Like Delray and Boynton are like sister cities. So.
Chat GPT is generating my my response now. So
Mike, I would have Mike share it, but he just walked out.
I don't. Well, I can read it. So
Yeah, I know, but he isn't he. I think the visual is helpful. But so
I don't. Do you have the paid? Did you do the paid version of it?
not yet. Have you?
Okay. No, I don't see a benefit. It's $20 a month, and basically all you're getting for that $20 a month is that it generates the answers faster.
Okay.
I will say this about Bard. Bard is instant.
It's fast.
Oh my God. It comes out with something amazingly quick, and it gives you different drafts. So it allows you to choose different drafts of the same thing, which is really cool. So there are definitely parts to it that I'm like, oh, I can see where one might have certain tweaks that, of course, they're all going to rip each other off. So,
All right, it's like
fascinating.
Rich is going to share his screen.
Yeah, it's still Oh my God.
Well, we can watch it type. That'll be fun. All right.
Yeah, this is interesting.
All right, you want to share your screen?
Wow, this is good. This is golden. So,
Right. Share it up.
all right, I'm going to share. Hold on 1 second. Okay. Oh, it just finished. So, all right. So, what do we got here? So, it's Rich Specht is an American entrepreneur and co-founder of the Respect Life Foundation, a nonprofit organization dedicated to spreading kindness and compassion through the world. Specht was born and raised on Long Island, New York, and graduated from the State University of New York at Oneonta with a degree in economics.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. After college, he worked in finance for several years before launching his own financial planning firm. I have news for people. If I started my own financial planning firm, don't go to it. Believe me. In 2012, tragedy struck when Specht's 22-month-old son, Richard Edwin Amer Specht, nicknamed Reese, drowned in a pond near their home. In the aftermath of this devastating loss, Specht and his wife, Samantha, were inspired to create a foundation in Reese's honor to promote kindness and compassion. The Respect Life Foundation was formed in 2013 and has since grown into a global movement with thousands of members and supporters. The foundation's mission is to spread respect, a term coined by Specht that means to show kindness and compassion to others, and to honor Reese's memory by helping to create a more compassionate world. It's pretty good. The foundation's programs include educational initiatives, community outreach, and events such as the annual Respect Life Beach Ball fundraiser.
I'm guessing that's not a thing.
It's not a thing, but maybe I should do it.
Yeah.
Specht and his wife have also authored several children's books and promote kindness and empathy, including A Little Respect Cultivates Kindness and The Rescued Letters. Whoever the author of that is, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the latter one.
In addition to his work with the Respect Life Foundation, Specht is an active member of his community and serves on the board of directors for several local organizations. I don't. He has been recognized for his philanthropic efforts with numerous awards and accolades, including being named a hometown hero by Newsday. That's true. And receiving a Make a Difference award from the Long Island Volunteer Center. Not true. Specht's personal story of tragedy, resilience, and compassion has inspired countless individuals around the world to spread kindness and make a positive difference in their communities. So I have to say, mine's more accurate than yours.
Yeah. Much.
I mean, no, it's not the Respect Life Ball fundraiser. We have done the Respect the Water fundraiser. And what else? I did not go to Oneonta. I went to Stony Brook University, which is part of the SUNY system. I was certainly not a financial planner, which I find that odd. Like, there's plenty of stuff out there to say that I'm a former science teacher. Like, how did it miss that?
So I see on the left you wrote a blog.
Yeah. So I started to do that, but I didn't get to ask it because, and I want to I want to do that in real time here. So, so what did you what do I write? Are you aware of?
Yeah, I started with that. Yeah.
Are you aware of the blog Respect Life by Rich Specht?
By the way, do you find yourself being polite to it? Like I realize I write like please and stuff in mine.
Okay, so yes, it's aware of it. All right, so now what do I write next?
So is it gonna write the blog is created as a way for Specht to share his personal story and experience with grief, kindness, and compassion.
Yeah, that's all right.
The blog has become an important platform spreading the message. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'd say pretend you're Rich Specht.
Pretend you are Rich Specht and write a blog post
for the Respect Life blog. Yeah.
For the didn't you write like in my style or?
Yeah, in the style of Respect, sure. On a topic. Oh yeah, let's try this first.
I probably should have said like unique blog post or something, right? Or
I mean, it'll be novel, I think, by definition. But she's thinking about it.
Yeah, she's thinking.
You kind of choose a she, by the way.
You know what? I think that's like, oh sure. Here's a blog post in the style of Rich Specht. Dear friends. This is actually, oh my God, that's crazy. That's weird. It's saying it's been a while because I haven't written a blog post in a while. That's freaking crazy that it that's scary. Oh my God. And it knows the anniversary.
Right, because it's September 2021.
Holy shit.
So it assumed you would write a blog post about the 10-year anniversary because it was coming up in a month.
Oh my God, that's freaky. I'm sorry for my crazy dog barking downstairs. So, and she's one that once she gets going, she won't stop unless I basically go down and stop her. So. All right, I'm going to start reading it. Maybe I'll probably catch up, but so dear friends. Now I would not start with dear friends. So
that's so crazy.
But this is exactly what I would have prefaced it with, though. It's been a while since I've sat down to write a blog post for Respect Life, but today I felt called to share some thoughts with you. As we approach the 10-year anniversary of our son Reese's passing, I find myself reflecting on a journey that led me to create the Respect Life Foundation and dedicate my life to spreading kindness and compassion. It's been a difficult road, but it's also been filled with moments of beauty, hope, and grace. One of the things that struck me most over the years is how much of an impact a single act of kindness can have on someone's life. I've heard countless stories from people who have been touched by the respect message and who've gone on to spread kindness in their own communities. It's amazing to think that one little boy's legacy can inspire so much good in the world. Of course, spreading kindness isn't always easy. There are times when we may feel overwhelmed, frustrated, or angry. But even in those moments, I believe that kindness can be a powerful tool for healing and connection. Recently, I had the opportunity to speak to a group of high school students about the importance of kindness. One student shared with me that she had been struggling with depression and felt like no one cared about her. But one day, a classmate she didn't know very well stopped to ask her how she was doing, and it made all the difference. The simple act of kindness gave her the hope and courage she needed to keep going. It's stories like these that remind me of why we do what we do at Respect Life. Every act of kindness matters, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant. You never know what someone else might be going through or how much your kindness might mean to them. As we look to the future, I'm filled with hope and excitement for all the ways we can continue to spread the respect message and make the world a kinder, more compassionate place. I'm grateful for each and every one of you who has been part of this journey with us, and I look forward to all the good things to come. With love and gratitude, respect. So that's kind of creepy,
so
but it does lack my style.
Right, but you probably don't have enough of a like I have 100 blogs that I got to write on,
Well, I mean, I have a lot. I basically stopped writing though in like 2017. But between 2012 and 2017, I wrote a lot. There's a lot out there.
And the fact that it knew, because like I said, it stops in September 2021. So it knew in October that the 10-year anniversary was coming. It realized you would write about that and then use that as the intro.
Now, you then, I know it generated one for you originally.
Yeah.
And then it, what
then I punched it up.
So, all right. So what do I, so now like, I'm not exactly happy with this. So what should I write to say like,
so, well, what about it isn't in your style? So I added humor to mine. You could do that. You could, which might not be, you could say, this is good, but also, do it again, but include a story about Reese. You can say, talk about Samantha, my wife. You can do both. You can say do a story about Reese and maybe also my wife Samantha. So it's not a story about Reese and Samantha. Because right, you got if you read it literally, right?
Also, my wife Samantha.
Maybe and also talk about my wife Samantha, so that way again it doesn't think it's a story about the two of them.
Include a story about Reese.
Period. Yeah.
And also, what mention?
Yeah. Mention or talk about. I mean, I'm as new to this as you are.
About my wife, Samantha.
Yeah.
Can I give it more than one sentence?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. Period. Yeah.
Right. So, also add a little humor to it and sign off with respectfully. Respect. Let's see if it does that.
Like, sure, I can do that.
That is. Oh my God.
Hello, respectful
friends.
It made a pun.
Oh my God. That's freaky. That is freaky.
It made a respect pun that you didn't tell it to.
That's freaky that it can understand a pun. Of course, it's making up fake stuff, but
we discovered his love of dinosaurs. Yeah.
He loved tractors.
Well, you could hold that.
Oh, right. I could ask it though. Like, oh my God, we could have it.
So you can tell it. You can preload it with information. So you can say Reese loved tractors. You know.
It's funny. This is more. I have to say this is actually much less accurate now because it's basically making up stuff. But
Right.
I'm wondering, most of the stuff I shared about Reese is in reference to his passing or his love of tractors, which I find interesting that if it's able to parse that, it doesn't recognize that. The sense of humor Reese had, he was 22 months old. There wasn't much of a sense of humor.
He was hilarious.
But you know what, though? I think this actually tells you that the machine doesn't quite, like, this is where it's lacking humanity. It doesn't recognize that. Right? I mean, it's a machine, so it's only looking at data and then parsing that data to make something that approximates.
It did
There you go, though. It did sign off. That's nuts. So it's interesting. It doesn't know how to add the apostrophe. It adds an apostrophe S to Reese's name, and it would S apostrophe. That's a grammatical mistake. So here it says, "Hello, respectful friends." That's actually not bad. I'm shocked that it did that. Again, as we approach the 10-year anniversary, I've been thinking a lot of the moments that made his life so special. And then it just makes up a fake memory.
Right.
So we never took Reese to the Museum of American History. He didn't like dinosaurs, but he did love tractors.
But but it was in New York City, which you do live in. You live near.
Right. So it's putting that, which is crazy. After Reese passed away, Samantha and I knew that we wanted to do something to honor his memory and spread the message of kindness that he embodied. That's how the Respect Life Foundation was born. Over the years, we've been amazed and humbled by the outpouring of support. One of the things that's kept us going over the years is the sense of humor that Reese had. Again, that's not something that really applies. He was always making us laugh with his silly jokes. The only word he could say was tractor. It's a trait that we've tried to carry forward in our work in the foundation. After all, spreading kindness doesn't have to be serious all the time. Sometimes a little humor is just what we need to brighten. So it took that humor thing a little too seriously.
Yeah, so I would say, try this again. Period. Then something like, Reese didn't know anything about dinosaurs. He only liked tractors. Also, he was only 22 months old, so he really couldn't tell jokes. Yeah.
He liked tractors, period.
Yeah.
Also, Reese was only 22 months old and was non-verbal. I'm going to leave it at that and see what it says. Oh my God, my apologies for the error. That's crazy. Sorry, so it's basically redoing it now. Which this is nuts though, Eric.
His love of tractors.
His love of tractors. And he's 22 months of nonverbal.
So I was worried it was going to do that because
Yeah.
it thinks he had a disability.
One day we took him to a local farm where he got to ride on a real tractor for the first time. He was so happy he didn't want to get off. Actually, that is true. That's true. Of course, there were plenty of other things that made Reese special too. He had a sweet, gentle nature and a smile that could light up a room. He loved spending time with his family, especially his mom, Samantha. She was his rock, and the two of them had a bond that was unbreakable. That's true. After Reese passed away, Samantha and I knew that we wanted. This is crazy though, because you could get to a point where you refine this and it would pass.
Yeah.
The only issue I'd have is that the amount of time I would spend trying to refine it would be equivalent to me actually writing it.
Is it though? Because I mean, you've got the blog post here. It would have taken you a couple hours or an hour to write all this.
I mean, if I wanted to get away with it, like if I wanted to, if my goal was quantity over quality, this is a gold mine. This is a gold mine.
Yeah.
But it can't. Like I feel like this, because of the specifics of our situation, I don't think that this can accurately ever get to a place where it's can. Like I feel like if I publish this, people would be like, "That's not you, Rich."
So what you could do though is you could continue in this thread, adding more information. Keep training it. So here's more information about Reese. Here's things you would here's stories, and eventually it would have this compilation of info where you've pre-fed it stuff because it remembers everything you tell it.
That's true.
So from now on, it's never gonna talk about dinosaurs again.
Right.
Like it knows now, right? It knows about tractors, and you can continue this. And now it gets kind of more powerful and more accurate. The more you would keep this up in this conversation.
I wonder if it can if it can recognize specific blog entries, and then like if I wanted to add something or do a new version of it, like I wonder if it can do that.
If it's before 2021, or you can just copy and paste it in there.
Like my most popular blog I ever wrote was called Signs. So rewrite the blog entry signs from Respect Life with a new sign in which Rich, or should I write Rich, or should I write I?
It doesn't know you're Rich.
In which Rich, what was the thing that just happened?
Oh, in the car with the music?
No. Something just happened too, and it freaked me out.
You were picking up Abby?
Oh yeah, it's funky that you remember that, but
we talk a lot.
I do. You can't shut me up.
So we talk a lot. You and I speak a lot.
Oh, I know. I was trying to make a joke that I can't shut me up. Rewrite the blog entry signs from Respect Life with a new sign in which Rich. I forget this. I forget. Abby would remember that, but something just happened recently, and I can't remember it though. Oh well. I can make one up.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I do know. Rich was sad that things weren't going his way and asked Reese for some help. And then his phone rang, and it was the producer of the potential animated series based on his book. I'm going to give it the title. A Little Respect Cultivates Kindness. The producer wanted to start production on the pilot episode. Yeah, good, right?
Yeah.
All right. Now, this was so specific. I don't know if it's going to be able to do it. All right, so this isn't the actual post. Although it's interesting how it's. So this took it very literally. as I sat there feeling sorry for myself. Oh, okay. I got to read. So, hello, respectful friends. Have you ever had one of those days where nothing seems to be going your way? I had one of those days recently and found myself feeling sad and discouraged. I wish that I could just talk to my son Reese and ask him for some help. As I sat there feeling sorry for myself, my phone rang, and the producer of the potential animated series based on my book, A Little Reese. It was the producer. Sorry. He told me that he loved the book and wanted to start production on the pilot episode right away. I couldn't believe it. It was like Reese had heard my prayers and sent this opportunity my way. I felt a renewed sense of hope and purpose. I knew that Reese was watching over me and guiding me on this journey. The signs are all around us, if we only take the time to look for them. Sometimes they come in the form of a phone call, a chance encounter, or a kind word from a stranger. Other times they come in the form of a memory or feelings of warmth in our hearts. Whatever form they take, these signs remind us that we are never truly alone. We are surrounded by love and kindness, even in the darkest times. So the next time you're feeling down or discouraged, look for the signs. They are there, waiting for you to notice them and take comfort in their presence. Respectfully. I love how it now is doing that, though. I didn't ask it.
No, now it knows.
That's nuts.
That's all I'm saying. Like, it would get better.
Yeah. I mean, this is getting closer to something I would write.
Yeah.
But it's not in my voice. Like, I feel like I have a very specific voice when I write, but this is kind of creepy, dude. So, all right, I'm going to stop sharing.
I mean, it got my voice pretty close.
I feel like it definitely nailed you more than it did me.
I think I have a more replicatable shtick.
I feel, well, that's almost like saying you're not as unique, but I feel like you're unique.
I am unique, but I think, I think my thing is more identifiable.
Maybe.
Yeah, I would agree. Eric has a very distinct style. He's been doing this for a long, long time.
Yeah, it's very clear what my deal is, and and the body of work is, I mean, like you said, I know you read a lot, but I mean, did you write 100 articles?
Probably.
Okay.
Probably, yeah. I mean, I could go back and count, but I wrote at least once a week for the first couple of years. So, there's a bunch.
Okay.
And then I just stopped. One day I stopped writing.
I've been much less consistent with my blog lately.
And it wasn't. I didn't stop writing because I didn't feel like people, I had more and more people reading it every time I wrote something. But I just got to a point where, like, I don't feel the need to. Well, actually, what happened with me is that I almost felt like now I was writing for other people, not for me. And that was always a big deal for me. Like, the reason I'm writing is it's my catharsis first. And if it helps people, that's great. But this is my catharsis. Like, people who knew me knew that one of the worst things that could have happened when Reese died was the fact that we lost our power, because I couldn't write and I needed to. And the first thing I did when our power came back on, the first thing I did was sit down at the computer and write. The one place I was writing those because I had my phone.
I was going to say, what
posts on Facebook.
Did you not own any pencils or pens or paper?
I can't write that way.
Okay. Me either. No, that's true.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, mine is more figurative than literal, but yeah, it doesn't. I have to type for it to come out.
Okay.
Yeah, I did post some stuff on Facebook at the time, and I used a lot of that actually as kind of inspiration for the blog because people were responding to what I was writing. But again, I wasn't doing that. That was kind of like a lark, only because I had no other place to write. So I'm like, well, here's a place where I can write something on my phone. So I did. And the only reason I did it there is because that was the one place I could type something. So I don't think, so it's weird if you think about it. Like, I think the circumstances that led to the foundation, a lot of it came from these unique circumstances that put us where we were, with the fact that the power was out. And I ended up, what I would have probably written for myself, I ended up sharing only because it was my only avenue to get it out. Because I didn't have a word processor on my phone or anything like that. So I'm like, I can write this on Facebook. And then the only way to keep it was to post it. And so I did. And then it got all this response, and I kept writing, but I wasn't writing for the response. I was writing for what I wanted. And then as soon as the power came back on, I started writing stuff for myself. And Samantha's the one who encouraged me. She's like, you should share that. And I'm like, no. I was like, it was kind of creepy that I shared the first stuff. I was like, this is for me. And I would share it with her. And then she's like, you need to write, like, make it a blog. And that's when I started the website. And then that just, kind of took on a life of its own. And then I wrote the children's book. And then, what's interesting too is that once I started writing the children's book, that was part of it. That's where it started to decline, because now it's focused on that side of things. And even when I had that, the publisher reach out to me, and she signed me to a contract for writing a book for adults, which, by the way, I still haven't written. And I know you've said, you need to do it. And I keep telling myself I need to do it. But my problem is that I can't do it for others. I have to do it for me. And I can't do it for just the sake of putting something out there because I'm supposed to.
You can.
I can, but I can't. And I feel like it in some ways it'd almost be disingenuous, because it's not really. So it's this weird place. But you're right. I should. And I've had people tell me, like, you need to put it all down. And
Seth Godin would say that professionals shift the work.
Well, you know what the other part of it too, and I think you know this about me now. I am afraid to fail. I am. I mean, it's if we look at why it took me so long to get the second book done, because I was afraid to fail at the crowdfunder. And I mean, and how that consumed me for that month and a half that it was running, which was worse than the first time. It was worse. And that fear of failure is tough. So I feel like if I'm going to put something out there, then it needs to, I don't know, it needs to be successful, because that's the only reason I'm doing it then, because it wasn't for me. Does that make sense? If it's not for me, then it was for this. And if it doesn't work out, then I feel like, oh, it's a failure. What was the point? So,
well, you know who the only people are who never fail, right?
The people who never try.
The people never do anything. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You miss 100% of the shots. I know.
Yeah. Anyone who's ever accomplished anything has screwed up at some point.
So, I eventually I will do it.
That's why I don't punish mistakes at Lifesaver.
Well, I mean, you shouldn't. I remind my daughters all the time. Failure,
now, laziness and apathy and negligent incompetence and dishonesty and those kinds of things. Sure, those don't fly. But
yeah, but that's not failure.
If you were doing your best and trying and it didn't pan out, then I've never fired anybody for that.
No, and to me, failure is a specific term for a specific circumstance in which you tried at something and it didn't work out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think too many people lump failure with all those other things, though.
Right.
And that's not failure. So yeah, and I should practice what I preach. One of my favorite quotes is from Edison, who I, by the way, don't respect as a human being, but I love the quote. Is that I didn't fail 10,000 times. I just found 10,000 ways it didn't work.
Well, I love that quote too. I have a thought for you.
Okay.
Abby is an adult now, right?
She is.
And Lorelai will be an adult soon, right?
Yep.
And it's a book for adults you think will be useful for adults, right? Don't write it for them, write it for Abby.
That's true. Look at you. You're like my therapist there.
Well, I'm like crippled Obi-Wan.
That could be that could be the thing that makes me do it.
It would be cool if you even wrote it like literally to Abby, the book is directly it uses her name,
Yeah, screw you people. I don't want, this isn't for anyone else. It's for my daughter. But if other people want to read it, then so be it.
Why not? Yeah.
So
that'd be kind of cool.
That is cool. Look at you.
I, every now and again,
that comes from understanding somebody. So you're like, oh, I know how to get rich to do it.
That's it.
Well, there you go.
I have a great hair today too. It's not bad.
My hair looks good too. I'm
Your
actually.
hair looks tremendous. No, this is your hair right here. This is how it should be forever. I know you said you need to get it cut, but I love it. I think it's great.
You know what it is? And Samantha hates it, by the way, because I tell her when I have to put time into doing my hair, then I don't want to. That's when it's time to cut it. But
what do you have to do? Brush it?
My hair gets funky though. Like I have to I gotta wet it and stuff, and
Wet it.
I come out of it, I know, right? Like even when I come out of the shower, if I don't comb it right away, it's just it's a mess.
So you showered and combed it. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
You know what happened to my hair today? There was a team of people involved. This product.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have no excuse.
Yeah.
Just like I have no excuse not to write this freaking book that I should have written.
I can do it, but I had to pay somebody. Literally.
I have none of those issues. These are all it's first world problems, Eric.
It is. Able-bodied problems.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna start using that. It's not first world problems; they're able-bodied problems.
There you go. Well, that's a great term for you to use.
No, able-bodied problems. Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, I think we've been successful in this.
Yeah. It was fun for me. So.
Yeah, that's what I told them.
And I'm gonna mess around more with it and see what it can do. And yes, I will join you for Jeopardy today.
Nice. And don't. All right, Charlotte, don't tell anybody in the comments that it was my blog or that it was written by Chat GPT. Just let it ride, and you can be on the joke to see if anyone else notices. All right. Good.
Well, there we go. All right. Well, I'll see you next week. Well, yeah. I'll see you in a couple hours, but this next week.
Sounds good. Next Thursday.
It's the AI has expanded to the point where I'll have an AI avatar of me. That's what what. Eventually, we're just going to have the podcast, and it'll be AI Eric and AI Rich.
Right, and
we'll sit back and laugh at them.
Okay.
So, but until then, it will be you and I.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys next time, and respectfully yours.
Yeah. Stay crippled, my friends.
Signing off. Yeah. Bye.